been a long time since I've even seen you guys. I'm really sorry. Hello. Welcome back. And to me too. Thank you for your patience. I did not intend to be out last week, and then election day just like ruled my life on Tuesday. So I hope that you guys found Rob's stuff interesting and kind of fun. So anyway, we're going to finish out this JavaScript stuff. We're going to do a mobile menu. I also have an example in there for a slider. I know that I think maybe the one team that needed a slider already figured theirs out, but I can show you one example of how to do that. So my hope is that you guys can follow along with this and then just like apply it to your site. It's a really quick assignment that's due tomorrow on your menu. So you already have your menus kind of set up anyway, and so if you apply this stuff, then I think it will be pretty quick. But if you have questions or run into issues, we can look at them a little bit this afternoon if you need to, and I can be available for a while tomorrow morning as well. But I am recording this, so I can share this across in Slack too, because there's a couple of people that I knew were going to be out. And because I rearranged, they thought they were going to see this, and then I rearranged, and they kind of got messed up. So anyway, that's where we're at. I just like switched out the files that I had in Slack, but there should be a jQuery class 2 zip file in Slack if you'll download that one. If you downloaded it before class started, then you have already got a styled menu. I didn't realize that I had not like deleted the styles when I shared that. So anyway. Okay, so what we have here is, if you look at the HTML, we have, and you can see the browser as well, we have the header and an unordered list. It still has bullets and stuff. If you look up you can see all of this in the HTML file. In the head tag, we have the style sheet linked there. And then you'll see this script piece here, and then this script piece here. So two things to know here. This first one is calling, so we're using a jQuery tool to write our script, and so we're referencing that jQuery library. jQuery is like a library of things that are done with JavaScript. So this is where all of that lives. So we're referencing certain things in that library when we start writing our script. So we're just like putting this as the source that the site has to be able to look at that as well as what we write in our own script code. So both of these things are going to need to be in your head tag when you apply this. Okay. First off though, it's really boring, so we're going to go ahead and style that menu. So first we want to get rid of, so we'll do display block. I'm going to put some borders on these. So I've got it on, if you look over here, I have a nav wrapping my UL, so I'm saying the list items within the UL that's within nav. That's this whole thing here. So I'm going to say border top 1 pixel. I'm just using a certain hex code, but this could be whatever. 98960 solid. Then we can style the links there. So these are links within the nav. So we're saying the links that are under nav. See the color. Sorry. Text decoration none, so we'll get rid of the underline there. We're going to put some padding in, make it look more like an actual menu here. But it looks like I need a background color because that color just blends in right there. So I'm just going to set a background color here on the header. X5, 6, margin 0, padding. Okay. So I have a header with a list of menu items. I've got them separated here. I mean, we're building a mobile menu, so the intention is that it will look like this. So we need that like hamburger menu, or the 3 lines that you see frequently on mobile sites. So where we're going to put that is, so we're actually gonna, like, some places, like, you could upload an image of the hamburger thing, like a screenshot or something, but there's actually a character we can use that will show it. So that's what we're going to put in here. Just gonna confirm. So I'm just gonna put this right here after the nav. And I'm going to say it's a link because we need it to be something that you can click or tap. But it doesn't go anywhere. So the pound sign is just like basically a blank link. And then the character to show up and make it look like a hamburger is this ampersand hashtag 9776 and close my link. Oh, wait. Yeah. There we go. So that semicolon is important too. And I also just want to go ahead and assign this a class for menu trigger. Sorry.
Is there any way you can make the text on the atom bigger?
Sorry.
I missed the part about why you did href equals.
Because you need it to be clickable, like tappable, but it doesn't go anywhere, right? We're just gonna, like, in our script, then we're gonna say on script or on click, then this happens. And so it's just like basically a blank link. So using the hashtag just creates a blank link.
Okay. And then what is that caret to and hashtag?
So this is the character. So this is just like code that creates a character that looks like the hamburger.
Oh, I got it.
So if you see where I've like refreshed over here, that created that character. So you could do it with an image, like if you downloaded the PNG of a hamburger menu, you could do that, but I find, one, it's like really lightweight just to have a character. It's not taking up extra bandwidth or anything, and this will achieve the same thing. Yeah, we can manipulate the size of it too. The thing about an image is often that it's too big and you're constantly trying to figure out how to make it smaller.
Did you add the hashtag in for all the unrendered list items?
Yeah, so this was just because it's a fake site. We don't actually have links. Your navigations have links, so they'll be actual like hrefs to something. Okay, so But what I really want to have happen is I want this hamburger to be next to my header. And again, this is going to depend on your site and how you have it arranged, where you put your hamburger menu, like where you want that to happen. But in this case, I want it to be next to my header text there. So I'm going to go ahead and do some Flexbox stuff here. So in the header, I'm going to say display flex flow. Confirm this is in the right spot. Sorry. Okay, but I really like, again, here, like I keep just having to manipulate because I want this to be on this side. But instead of changing the HTML, this is where that order property becomes pretty powerful for Flexbox. So I can say that I put this class of menu trigger on my link here. So I have order of 1. And here's where I can define. So if I set like font size 1.75 em, width 2 em.
I think it's menu trigger.
Yes, thank you. And then I'm going to tell my header, the H1 within the header, that it needs to be order of 2. I'm going to manipulate my font size there a little bit too. Okay, so that flipped them. It got my menu or my hamburger a little bit bigger, but I could manipulate that all day long if I wanted it to be bigger. Just playing with font size there. Okay. If you want to, you could change the color of the type here, but make it blend in. Okay. So everybody to this point, they have a menu or hamburger icon. You've got your menu. We want to hide this at this point, right? Okay, so this was already done for you, and we already talked about this, but this is where you're loading in the jQuery menu or library of stuff, and then our specific JavaScript file. Okay, so we have this menu.js file, and here's what we're trying to accomplish. We want the menu. Hold on, I skipped a step here. Okay, so back here, we're just gonna by default hide it, right? Because we don't want it to show, we want it to act when we do something. So by default, it will be hidden. So we're gonna say our nav ul display none. Okay, so now we just have the hamburger and the header and nothing's happening because we haven't turned on our JavaScript or done anything. But the menu is hidden at this point. So we're gonna change what happens by using JavaScript, okay? So by default, our menu is hidden. It takes an action that we're clicking on it for it to open, okay? Okay, so we're going to use the document ready function. This is making sure that the page and JavaScript has loaded on the page before it tries to perform any sort of action. So that looks like this. Document dot ready function. And the parentheses are super weird here. So they have to be pretty exact. So we have $ opening parentheses document close parentheses period ready we're opening a function. And so you have these two parentheses, but you do not have a one closing here. Okay, we want it to slide out when the hamburger is clicked or touched. It was in the menu trigger class, so we can actually use that as a way to tell it what we're looking for. If I can spell trigger. So this click, we're saying when it's clicked, we want it to do something. And again, these brackets and parentheses get really funky here. So we want the navigation to slide out when we do that. So we're going to use what's called the slide toggle command to make that happen. And we're telling it we want the nav-ul to be what toggles out. Now this is all going to depend on how you've set up your menu of which thing you're telling to toggle on or targeting here. Okay, so we're closing it off here. And we're going to add a little bit of transition time so it's not like an awkward slide. Okay. Oh, here in this slide toggle, this becomes 500. So nothing's actually happening here, right? Because we've told the nav-ul not to display. So we also have to do some code to tell it to display. And I'm missing, just to make sure I close off everything I need closed off here.
Is this supposed to be in our index?
This is in your menu.js. So this is a JavaScript file.
So are you intentionally leaving the brackets open on the first two lines?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quick question on that.
Mm-hmm.
On the first and second line, my ready and click are red instead of blue.
Okay, do you have like all of the parentheses closed and stuff?
I am pretty sure.
My ready is also red, but my click is actually blue.
I'm double checking. Which I retype it. And then the parenthesis after function, I guess when I type that automatically, I think makes another parenthesis.
Yeah, and I deleted that.
You delete that. Okay. Okay, so
Did that get it back?
yes.
Okay.
How did you
Honestly, I just retyped it
in
and
the first line?
yeah. Or I guess I just deleted the function and then retyped it because I think it was something with deleting that other parenthesis.
So at this point, we need to tell it to display when this action's taken on the small screen. So we're going to tell it at what window width and then tell it to remove that style that we applied to the UL. So window dot resize function open bracket if so if the window width greater than 500 on the nav UL. We're saying remove your attribute style. Then I'm going to close my brackets off here. So closing this bracket. It's a lot harder to follow like all the things that have to be closed on these, but is it working for anyone?
That's working for me.
All right.
You think you can explain the way that you closed all these out? Or like why? Or like, no?
Okay, so this one is closing. So we're saying like this document ready function is kind of the overall one here. And there's functions within here. And I'm closing the slide toggle here. That's what this bracket and parentheses and semicolon is closing here. And then this one is closing the resize function here. And this is closing the document ready function. This very last one.
Can you say those last two again?
So this is the resize function, and this one is the document ready one. Actually, I'm missing a semicolon there. So I didn't really tab these, but if you tabbed them, then you could kind of start to see how it flows.
What is the, how do you make a comment?
A slash slash. And I left the finished files in that zip file, so you'll be able to see that, and my notes are in there too. But like in theory, this would be so I didn't really tab these very well, but okay, but we don't always want have a hamburger menu. When we go to desktop, then we want it to behave differently, right? So we're going to use some media queries in our styles at this point. Well, you just use 700 pixels as our min width. I know you guys have a variety of different media queries on your own sites, but we're going to get rid of our, so I'm going to use Flexbox to spread it out again. I'm also just going to get rid of that because we put that top border on those different list items. So we're going to get rid of that. And then we have to, so I can do this, expand out. So you can see it's showing out, spreading them out, but I obviously don't need my hamburger menu anymore, so I'll hide that too. So menu trigger display none. And then I can also flip around the order again if I want to. Because I had put that as, this becomes order 2. It had been order 1. Header H1. Nope, I don't need that. So basically for 700 pixels, I got it all on the same line. Which again, you guys have already like managed this for your own sites of how you want to do it. All you really have to do for your assignment is make sure that there's a hamburger that is animated.
Is there a way to make the header not move whenever you put the hamburger?
You could do it not on the same line as the header. I mean, you could play around with where you're putting it too.
What do you mean by that?
Like I have them on the same row.
So if it's on the same row, it's always going to move? It's going to move out of the way of the...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if I had it either below, like below the, it just depends on where you're putting it. It feels less awkward, I think, on a phone than it looks here. I don't have my stuff on here. The viewport width thing. So it's not displaying right. So there's like, I mean, I have no doubt more complicated ways to do this and ones that might be smoother. This is like one of the most simple examples that I found to teach. So. Okay. So do you want to go through the slider example? Do you guys want to take some time, try to apply it to your own sites while we're here? What would you like to see?
What second one?
The second one, okay. So I'll let you guys